Welcome back, people. Welcome back or to the channel. Rob Cole, RCS Auto World. We are going to probably make another bad decision, as in it's not anything new of what I do, but with this decision, I ended up getting a whole nother car. And what is usually, I guess, like an addictive mentality you shouldn't do, what is not the answer to a clapped out old school that's giving you trouble? Another clapped out old school. And that's kind of what happened, but there is logic behind my thinking. Thing is, the Kodiak that you guys have seen a lot of on the channel, I've done a lot of things to that car, well, that truck, and I still have a lot of things that I need to do. I have a lot of parts that's sitting, and the issue is trying to find the space to do it without being harassed. I can't work where I'm at here at home to do a lot of these jobs because the surrounding people will absolutely crucify me as development. And trying to rent space sucks because people want freaking like $1 million to rent space for monthly. Whereas though I can just take that same money, put it on, tack it onto a mortgage, and I'll have the space as long as I get a house with a garage, which of course I will, and it has to have enough space. But with that being said, one of the other things that I can do is, since my gray ashy Caprice that needs a lot of work, needs so much work, I can go to a cleaner canvas that does not require as much work, and I'm working on an untouched, unabused surface. Not saying that the other car was abused, but I was young, didn't make the best decisions, didn't have the know-how that I have now, so that changes things. So benefit that I'm coming across is the fact that I was able, for a very reasonable price, able to come across another 91 Caprice that is complete. I was going to say no body damage, but there is a couple spots that you can see that has body damage, and one spot that was hiding that I did not see because I was so gung-ho to get this thing, as you will see shortly. But what this opportunity will do, if everything goes right, is I will have another vehicle that I can hop into as a daily driver. Just turnkey and go. I'm not going to start tearing this thing down immediately. I know it's going to take everything in my soul to not immediately slap headers on it and do some other stuff. That is not the purpose of this right now, and I have to stick to that, but it's going to be very hard. But what it's going to do is, now that I have another vehicle that I would be able to daily drive, I can also crack open a Kodiak and do some work that I've been wanting to get done. The marine intake, matter of fact, the whole complete fuel system, I even have that sitting on the side in the tuck. The thing is, being able to do that work here, it's not going to go down because of the way that it looks to the public eye in a development, and it's a whole nother story. Thing is though, when a vehicle's jacked up, they think the world's over, you're doing a whole overhaul, because they're civilians, they don't know any better. But if the hood is popped and I'm just tinkering under the hood, you have no clue what I'm doing. I could do a whole top end, cam, and everything else, and guess what? You wouldn't even know. Why? Because the hood's just popped. Unless you are obviously a car guy and you have some mechanical background, then you know anything could be happening with just a popped hood. Either way, I'll be able to crack that open, and it can be down for an extended period of time without me relying on it to get to work, because it literally is my daily driver. So this is where this other Caprice will come into play. So as of right now, the way that this thing is planning to do and serve dual purposes is it's going to give me another daily driver, so that way I can drive it and allow me to do maintenance on the Kodiak and let the Kodiak be down for a while, so that way I can do it without rushing and constantly having a gun to my head. For those that don't know, the Kodiak, it's a 96 C1500 pickup truck that I have literally done almost everything I possibly could to. No lifts, no jacks, just straight grit. Just built it, kids, job crap, all of that, still kept pushing. I don't recommend it for anybody. It is highly taxing on the mind, on the body, the whole nine. But circling back again, the next thing that it's also going to be able to do is give me a better starting point compared to the other black gray Caprice. This will absolutely be a, I don't have to correct old mistakes and get them fixed and then start from there. So it's almost like with the other one, I have to work my way to ground zero, and then I can go above ground zero. Also, it's interesting because this is the first experience for me. I've watched Roadkill, David Freiberger, freaking idol of mine, Finnegan, the whole crew over there. With watching that stuff, I always was like, wow, it'd be so cool to go out and just grab these things, get it to start, and drive it. It's all fine and dandy until it's literally only down to you. You have no diesel truck that can tow. You have no trailer. You don't even have a huge chunk of money stuck in the tuck that I can just call a tow truck and say, hey, I'm screwed. No. If something goes wrong, I truthfully don't even know what I would have did. But I kind of just went for it because the opportunity was there. But that's it, people. Check it out. The goal is to get this thing home safe, with myself included, and the car fully intact. And I'm hoping that it plans out to be what I think it could be. But let's see. On my way to go and check this car out. I talked to the guy a little bit ahead of time. I did let him know that we were still on for 1 o'clock, even though the rain is not very fun right now. But the communication did get a little better toward this moment. So I'm about, I want to say 15 minutes away now. Took me hours some change. Well, it's going to take me about an hour some change total to get there. And I'm hoping for the best. I have a good amount. Well, I got a little bit of tools with me, nothing crazy. I don't buy vehicles very often at all. Matter of fact, the vehicles that I own have all been off of someone that I personally know. I have never went to a stranger and actually got a vehicle. So I have no gift of gab skills in being a heckler or anything like that. If anything, I'm pretty honest with stuff, which is absolutely a fault and has bitten me in the behind. But I'm hoping for the most part that what he did put in the description is all true. The odds of that, very slim, but hoping that it's all true, because if that's the case, then the opportunity does work out. So we'll see what happens when I get there. And I got a piece of cardboard with me behind me. It's not going to do me much good, but it'll kind of give me a temporary barrier between, I guess, the grass that it looks like it's sitting in along with everything else. I'm just hoping that it's not super rotted out. It's not completely smashed up on the one side that's not in pictures. And that's pretty much it, but we'll see what happens when we get there. All right, y'all, it's early morning. I'm outside trying to make sure I got everything together to actually go and hopefully recover this thing. Even if it's not today, maybe it'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow seems like probably the safer bet, but today the goal is to actually get it driving. So what I'm doing now, I just loaded up the Kodiak, just got all of the stuff that I think I'm gonna need. I know for a fact I'm gonna have to make multiple trips back and forth to AutoZone, but I got majority of the tools that I would need, jack, stands, so on and so forth. But last thing I gotta do is I gotta get a good battery, because the battery in that thing does not work. So I'm actually gonna end up taking the battery out of my Caprice for now to get this one going. So yeah, just gotta get the battery out of that bad boy, and gotta get the tools I need from out of here. But real quick, I got my jack, check. I got 2 stands, check. The wheels of the car are kind of on the driveway concrete, but the middle is dirt, so that's going to be a little tricky. So I got the wood. Hopefully that'll help with stability of the jack to not sink into the dirt, and the same thing for the jack stands, so they also have something solid to sit on as far as like a foundation. Then from Amazon, Evil Energy, I've gotten multiple things from them. I have, what is this? This is about, I think, 25 feet. They're both 25 feet. This one is the 25 feet of the 5/16, which is the return line size for the fuel injection. This is also fuel injection hose, not just fuel hose. And same thing here. This is the other one, and this is the 3/8 line. Same thing, fuel injection hose, 25 feet. And both of these, if I had to run literally new line from front or from back all the way to front, I'd be able to do that with both of these, because 25 feet of each is absolute overkill. But I didn't want to take it the chance, and I'm trying to just get this thing home so that way I can kind of touch base and figure out what I'm gonna do from there. Also, fuel filter, just in case. I know the guy said they put a new fuel filter on, but I got one. Can't be too safe, plus they're not expensive. So, and I'll probably end up putting this one on shortly after anyway. All right, gotta fill up the tank, man. I'm not gonna make the same mistake I did driving back. Because when I was driving back and had the minivan, I think I was like, I don't know, 20 miles, 30 miles from E, and I had just got on the turnpike, so that was a little scary, but we obviously made it home. All right, so here it is in its natural raggedy form. Got a lot to do from the future going forward, but again, I'm definitely going to save money in the long run when it comes to trying to get this on the road as opposed to getting the other one on the road. Truthfully, the other one could have been on the road, but it's just other things like the floor. Obviously, you guys have seen it all that I needed to get done. But overall with this one, the body is straight. There is no body damage on this thing whatsoever. You got maybe some chip and paint here on the trunk lid, a little bit of chip and paint on the hood, but there's going to be a cowl on there. Not worried about that. But overall, again, no body damage, no tear in the quarter, no nothing. Same thing with the interior. The interior is complete, pretty much top to bottom. Of course, a lot of the stuff's going to get swapped out and whatnot, but the dash, that is cracked to high heaven. I have a good dash because this one, the foam's probably so cracked, it would be difficult to try to body work this to make it smooth. So I could take the one that's in my car currently out and put it in here. Another big one, windshields, no leaks in those, because when I originally came to check it out, it was raining very heavy and the floors were dry. That's a big one. So I don't have to worry too much about floor rot. Plus I did take a glance. I'm going to get a better look at the underbelly and didn't see any huge holes. So again, another win. But for whatever reason, again, it's not getting fuel. That's the issue. The guy that was here, the mechanic that almost took the Tahoe that was sitting here along with this one, wasn't able to get fuel. He had somebody come out, replace the fuel pump and put a new one in. But even after taking off the lines on the back of the TBI here, they still weren't able to get fuel to come up and actually to it. So I don't know if that's like a low voltage thing because the battery was horrible or what the case may have been. But I'm thinking there's probably more to it, knowing my luck. But best case scenario, I'll be able to figure out wherever this clog in the line is and, you know, bypass it or fix it. All right, so just to give you guys an idea what I mean, because we were able to do it before, just give it a few sprays and then crank smooth and starts up. Yep, just got to get that fuel to get to up there. Yep, just got to get the fuel up here, and then I think we are in way better form than we are now. All right, so back with this thing, and a lot went down, and I got good news and I have bad news. So the good news is that we actually have fuel. I took the back piece off. I had the guy come over that was, you know, selling a car, and just had him turn the key up, and fuel was gushing out of the feed line, which is fantastic. But that lets me know we are getting fuel to the TBI. Problem is trying to figure out why the injectors are not firing any fuel. So I've had plenty of issues with this stuff when it comes to my Caprice, the Free World Bourbon. Even previous motors, I've been messing with TBIs pretty much for a long time. So I kind of had an idea of how to start troubleshooting certain stuff, but I'm not sure how far in we're gonna have to go. So again, what I did was got this here, got that back line, which is the feed, pulled that off, turned the key forward, plenty of fuel coming out of this, so that isn't the problem. I'm glad I did that before I just started cutting line and replacing it with a new fuel line that I started to plumb. So line is still 100% intact, except for whatever the previous guy did in the back when they put the new fuel pump in. So coming back to this, what I need to do is figure out and keep going with the process of elimination. So if I'm getting fuel into the TBI, the next issues I don't know is, one, is there even a signal coming through to actually start to make the the injectors fire? Two, are the injectors actually firing? And three, is there a clog somewhere up here that will require me to have to use a TBI rebuild kit? So a couple of those things I already checked out. The one thing that I did do is I went to Harbor Freight and I grabbed a Noid light that will test to see if there is a pulse coming from the wires to the injectors. That's that. Then I have the a 9-volt battery. That's another thing people do. They take a 9-volt battery and you touch it to the top of the injector. You don't hold it because it's not designed to actually take 9-volt continuously open, because it's a solenoid. So it's meant to just, you know, on off. So just tap it a couple times, and if I hear a click, then I know that the injectors are actually working. If I have a Noid light telling me that I'm getting signal to the TBI, to the injectors, then the injectors are actually clicking themselves. The last thing I can think of is maybe some sort of a clog. I really hope so, because if not, things are going to get really wicked. So in my box of goodies, well, not box, but bag, here is the Noid light from Harbor Freight, boom. So that's going to test that pulse going from the wires. And then here is my 9-volt batteries. So I'm going to pop these out, start doing some testing. And I also got, just in case, the security bits. I have those because it's going to be some sort of a Torx bit on the top of the TBI. Then I have the proper actual, what's this thing? I guess you call it like a ratchet somewhat for the battery terminals, the small 8mm, so I can stop using, what's that thing called? Pliers on it. And then this thing too, I think it was like, I don't know, 10 bucks, whatever, because I left my screwdriver that has the interchangeable tip on it. I left that at home, so I had to get one of those. So the one thing that is getting me a bit is thinking that if I do both of these things, and let's just say the injectors aren't firing, that's going to suck. And if there's no pulse going to the wires going to the TBI, that's going to suck as well. Reason why is because the fixes for that is things that I don't have here. Rushing, trying to get out of the house, because yesterday I was at work. I had my 2 night works, got off yesterday morning, and they were kind of rough. And what I should have probably did was try to be a little less productive yesterday, so that way I can actually get some sleep, catch up, and be ready to go early AM, so that I had plenty of time to start to get ready, or start to get ready the night before, but I was like half dead. All right, so let's see if this thing actually fires for starters. That's not good. I am not hearing any click whatsoever. I'm not hearing anything. Let's try the other one. Nothing. Wow. No way. All right, so just pop these bad boys out, and wild part is there's fuel right there. Like as soon as I picked these up, fuel was pretty much at the ready in front. So this one was on the driver's side, that one's the passenger side. You know, a little buildup or whatever. I don't know, maybe if I can like manhandle these things a little bit and then, I don't know, spray something on them. Maybe the clog, the solenoid itself is kind of gummed. I don't know. Worst case scenario, I really don't want to have to spend like 50 bucks per injector, but I think I may have to do that anyway. Reason why I was saying I really don't want to have to do that is because that's money that could wait until later that can be used on something else more detrimental to getting this thing to being on its way. Will I need eventually to have another set of TBI injectors? Yes, because temporarily, until I figure out what's going to happen with my actual 91 that's back at the house, I'm going to have 3 engines that's running off of TBI. I'm going to have the Free World, that's TBI. I'm going to have this thing, that's TBI, and the other 91. I only have 2 throttle bodies, complete TBIs that work, and one is on my Caprice and one is on the Suburban. Neither one of them drive daily. This one's closer. I could have took the one off the Suburban and popped it on here. I could have took the one off my Caprice and popped it on here. And that $100 or so could have been put towards something else for this car. But that still depends on what it looks like when I go over to AutoZone, because I think on the website, the cheapest ones that AutoZone sold was like, I think like 40 something bucks, close to 50. So I get 2 of those. And hopefully that's it. So I'm going to mess with these a bit, see what I can make happen. Worst case scenario, I got to go buy some injectors. Okay, people, got some good news. So I was able to get these to work, and all I had to do, I mean, I don't know which one did it. I'm quite sure, I think might have been a combination. So on this one, I sprayed the starter fluid I had here because I didn't go to the auto parts store yet. I sprayed the starter fluid in through here, and the amount of pressure that it put probably let it flow out and up out the side here. This camera's definitely not going to catch it like I want it to, but either way, sprayed this in. I saw a little bit starting to come out there, and then I took it and I literally just like hit it on one of the hard parts under the hood and just tapped it just to kind of break it loose. And after I did that, started tapping it, and listen, this bad boy's working. And same thing happened with this one. Only thing I can say with this one was I did slide this filter down, use the spray and spray only. And after spray only, this one works too. So only thing I don't like is on the sides here, there's a small filter. This filter's still in, this one is out because I plucked it out. It wasn't the goal. I forgot how finicky they can be, but I'm just gonna run it as it is right now and address this fully with a rebuild later. All right, people, moment of truth. Got it all reassembled up top. Everything's tight. Injectors click. Only thing I have is over here. I can do that later. This is just that bracket because I was about to move these lines to cut, but I'll put that back. Jump box is on, and I also checked the oil because that's the last thing that I wanted, is to try to run a bone dry motor and be screwed. And the thing is, I won't be able to look under the hood and turn the key at the same time, so I won't see if the injectors are firing. The car will just start if the injectors are firing. Whew, definitely a little nervous, scared a little bit. We are in park, yes, not gonna die. Okay, we're getting somewhere. The spray pattern probably isn't the greatest. They're probably not the cleanest, but let's keep trying. Whoa, check this out. That's weird. And you know what? I think that's the one that's missing the filter. So after that, what I think I just did was, by knocking that tiny little filter I was talking about out, it's causing the injector to flood. So I think I just bought myself a trip to the auto parts store to have to get a rebuild kit so that I can change all of those filters on the injectors, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna tinker a little more, but I think I'm gonna end up just doing that. I just dumped so much fuel that I just like hydrolocked the motor. Wow. All right, so I'm headed to go get that throttle body rebuild tune-up kit, whatever they call it. I'm headed to Napa because Napa actually has it in stock. I thought I was gonna get it from AutoZone, but they don't stock it. They just special order it. Advance Auto, they had it on their website. I don't know if that would have been a special order too, but thing with them was they wanted like $80 for it. Not doing that. The Napa wants $41.99, which was kind of on par with the AutoZone price. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Napa. I'm driving now. But shout out to the Kodiak, man. The fact that this thing, here I am, who knows how far away. Here I am an hour plus away making run after run after run. And guess what? I can just hop in this thing, start it up, and go. So I'm glad that I put in all of the effort that I did into this thing to get it to the point where it is now. And again, I need to put hands back on it, and hopefully having this car kind of unlocks a different avenue. Because with having this other car, I would be able to drive that one and actually have this parked up for extended periods of time and not worry like, oh, I need to get to work. I can just literally hop into other Caprice and go. So, all right, man, hopefully it continues to go well. All right, so take a look at my little workstation here. Already off camera, rebuilt the TBI, but also some bad news again. So everything in here is replaced. All the rubbers, filters, all that stuff is done. Even the fuel pressure regulator up here, that little plunger thing, which is that there, that's kind of crunchy. I replaced that too. The bad news is, you see here, there's an ear missing that bolts this thing down. There's one up top, one over here, nothing here. Why? Because it broke off, which really sucks. So the way it ended up happening was this thing was sitting in there, and in order to get this out, I have to take out the these fuel plug like adapters back here, and this was so tight in there that the pressure from me pushing it over, and I guess since the bolts in here weren't like super duper tight, it snapped really easy. So hopefully that doesn't cause a problem. I know it's definitely something I'll address, but hopefully for the temporary setup here, it won't be anything super horrible, because nothing passes through here that will actually leak. The only section, and I'll show you, which is where some air would probably get through, and hopefully that's all it is and it doesn't throw off the idle too much, is on that side. So that's it, sitting where it belongs, and right there is where you can see the piece is missing. But the only thing I could think of is, I don't know if like airflow somehow getting in from back here into the throttle body will throw it off, but I guess we'll see.
Yep.
All right. Depending on how this drive goes, depends on if I try to drive this bad boy home. Doors need lube. All right, it was surprisingly difficult to get in this thing. I guess I'm spoiled from the Kodiak, but we got drive. All right, let's see what happens. I'll follow his instruction where he said I should drive. All right, so far, I mean, it goes. It doesn't shift into gear super hard. I still gotta check the trans fluid again, just to be on the safe side. Why not? But it's rolling. All right, he told me to go up until I see a brick school building and then make the left. And whoop, that's it right there. Wow, working turn signals. Insanity. Insanity. We are riding in luxury here. And then he said go down the hill, which I'm going to do. And he said I'm going to see the highway. Oh, I guess I just keep going around this bend, and then he said I'm gonna make a left on Lee Street. I'm really thinking, dude, I washed this thing up. I think me and Lodge is just gonna drive this bad boy home. No rush, just get there safe. All right, people, I'll fast forward a little bit, but we won. It runs, and I think we're going for it. So Martin, he was cool enough to actually stick around. He kept checking in just to see if everything was okay. And yeah, cool dude, man. He gave me all the tea, the whole family story about how this thing came about. And it's cool because this makes me feel a lot better because I'm actually dealing with something that actually has some sentimental value. I know a lot of people don't care, but for me, that's kind of a big thing. So that whole broken part that I was talking about, that broken part isn't too big of a deal because it's running pretty smooth. It does have a little bit of a miss when I was driving it, but that's because one of the spark plug wires I noticed has like a kink in it. So the connection's probably not the greatest. But other than that, the thing runs, it goes into gear smooth, it drives, and it has brakes. So I didn't get too much of the startup because with this thing, it ended up hydrolocking, like I said. Once I took the filter out, and then it was like the grommet at the bottom inside of TBI that was ripped. I didn't even know it, and it was just dumping fuel. That fuel dumped, and it ended up going to like the very back cylinder. I'm so glad that Martin actually decided to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's in the back cylinder because the car's kind of on a tilt. And guess what? I took that back plug out, and it was a lot of fuel. Even he was shocked and kept saying, yeah, that was a lot of fuel. But yeah, so after we got that one out, left it out and had him crank it. And as it was cranking, just shooting out the side. So of course it was hydrolocked. But after pulling that piece out and it's spraying out, it was spinning freely. Then it's like, okay, we should be good. We should be in the money. So popping the hood here, boom. Yeah. Starts up, runs. I'm actually going to turn the key so that way you guys can see and witness the beauty of this thing running like a top. Wow. Wow. Minimal effort on turn key. Minimal effort on turn key. And I don't know if it shows up on camera, but again, it does have a bit of a miss to it, so it's a little rocky. But just changing out that messed up plug, I mean, not the plug, but the wire, that's going to fix that. So now the question is to drive or not to drive. So I'm probably going to drive. Even Martin was saying, dude, if I were you, I would drive. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. It's already late at night. We'll pretty much be doing this nocturnally. I'm going to call Lodge, and hopefully he'll be still able to link up and help me out. And first thing we need to do, since this thing's gonna be on the road, is get this thing clean. So I'm gonna go to the local spot. There's one up the street where you just feed the meter, pull out the power washer. That is best case scenario for this thing. So going to do that, shoot, I'm even gonna throw some tire shine on, why not? And then from there, kind of map out the route back home. And it's wild because this literally feels like a roadkill moment for me. I wish I could have film produced it better than what I did, but this is cool. Like, I feel like David Freiberger, but broker. But yeah, man, done talking now. I gotta keep moving. I'm gonna make the phone call, see what's next, shut this thing down, and get back to it. All right, drug the missus out of the house. She drove me down here, and we figured we'd do two birds, one stone. It was actually her idea, but she's washing the van. I'm washing this thing, and this thing is very crusty. So hopefully the power wash will get all the moss off of it and get it a little less suspicious as I'm driving around. Let's hope. I thought I had some tire shine, but I don't. I didn't grab it, so I kind of screwed myself on that one. But yeah, gonna get this thing cleaned up as best we can and go from there. So for starters here, it is 1 o'clock in the morning, and we are trying to get all of the moss and crap off of this thing so it doesn't look like a rolling trash can, which it already is going to look like that anyway, but still moving forward. Good part is, I talked to the guy, Martin. Martin is the one who sold me this car, son of the owner of this car. And it sucks because, I mean, the way the things went wasn't the best of circumstances. His dad, they actually are the original owners of this car, and they have driven it since they have owned it. Eventually got transferred from the wife to the dad, his father,
and he got really sick. I want to say it was around 2020 that he got really sick, got COVID, and the recovery wasn't the greatest. So he was not able to drive the car anymore. And Martin pretty much had a lot of stuff piled on his plate, not only trying to take care of him, but also trying to make sure that the cars were dealt with. Because at his point, he has his own family to deal with, plus dealing with parents, it's a lot. So because they were the sole owners, I was able to actually get legit paperwork validating everything that he said. For starters, this engine probably has, I don't know, maybe 10,000 miles, 15,000, because it was purchased from Jegs back in 2005, and the car was barely driven. They didn't drive a whole bunch at that time because they were already elderly, but this thing's got low mileage on it, and that's another thing that was a big selling point for me, the fact that I was able to get that. If this would have belonged to a younger person, oh, you better believe from 05 all the way to 2020, what's that, 15 years, the miles would have been ran up on this thing. But in my case, for my benefit, that is not the case.
All right, so after some scary, sketchy nighttime maneuvers, I was able to bring this thing home. And like I said, shout out to my old lady. She drove behind me and made sure everything was cool. I had tools just in case, but just took it easy, coasted right on home. This thing made the trip, and it was about, I want to say, an hour, 20 minutes. So that's a good sign that this thing was able to make an hour and 20-minute trip based off of how it was sitting since, I don't know, 2020. So after 5 years of sitting, and it was still able to do that. But you saw me wash it, get all this stuff off. It was all kinds of moss, grime, who knows what. But now we're gonna get a better look at what it looks like after all of that stuff's been scrubbed off and see what the body and the paint, what's left of the paint, really looks like. So this side here was like the mossiest side, and I got majority off. There is a bit in between, kind of like the cracks right there, but I just wanted to do a hard scrub and get the bulk of everything off. If not everything, that was the goal. But you know, 1 o'clock in the morning washing a car, I definitely was kind of taxed after working on this thing for the day. But yeah, so got some steelies on it. Those are definitely coming off. I'm either getting, well, I know for a fact I'm getting the drag pack, but for the time being, probably just going to put the 9C1s on here and call it a day. And there's definitely a night and day difference between this side and the other side. This has majority of the clear left, to whereas though the other side is kind of just ravaged. So this side isn't the greatest because this was the one that was exposed to the way that the sun would rise, pretty much beating on this side. And think the same thing with the interior. That's why this top panel here, how you can see it's kind of white, that's literally from the sun just drilling it. But again, straight body, no body damage, which is huge. Doors are not rotted out toward the bottom. And yeah, man, same thing with the quarters. Quarters intact, no tears, nothing like that. Of course, the hood paint, that's screaming for help, but we're getting a cowl on here, fiberglass. Going to get one from Glass Tech, and that's going to take care of this whole situation, and I'll probably have Joey spray it before he puts it on. Same thing with the top. Top's done. Sunbeat to high heaven. You think this is a Florida car with the way that this paint's gone. Same thing on the back here. Trunk lid, not worried about that. I have a good one on my Caprice, and I have another good one that I got that you saw me get from KP a video ago. Then popping the trunk. Trunk is completely intact, and I just thought about it. This is one thing I didn't even think of. All of this I should have gotten out when I was at the power wash station. Didn't even click to pop the trunk and get these edges, but you know, like I said, it was just to get the bulk, and we'll get to the rest of this stuff with a more detailed wash. Spare tire still in there. I took the cover off before, and it's like brand new. It was never used, it just sat back here. So interior, looking from the back end. So there is like some random kind of flaky trash you'll see. I'm just going to vacuum all that up, but it's nice because again, the whole thing is intact. I don't have to hunt down any pieces. They're all here. Door bezels, the door cushions, the arm pulls, the panel itself, the buttons, all that stuff's here. So that's a huge plus. Definitely a cleaner canvas to kind of continue the vision and you know, the build. Front, same thing. Just gotta, again, vacuum the dash. The one thing I do have to do, that dash is very cracked. It could be saved because I know a guy that does do interior work, and it can possibly be kind of bondoed and sanded in some of these parts, or I may just end up swapping out to another dash. But either way, again, everything's here, no missing pieces. Going to wipe it all down, try to sun protect it and go from there. The column, something's definitely been done with that column. If I had to guess, that's in somebody replaced it, and it does have a bit of a wiggle to it, so some of the bolts have to be tightened up after taking off the wheel. But again, I mean, overall, cleaner canvas. But that wraps it up for this. Next time you see it, I already have things that I had spares of that is better than what's on here, and I'm immediately going to start putting it on here. I got the aftermarket headlights. They already came in the mail because the lens on this one is kind of falling off. We have the Impala grill. I already had one that was painted DCM, so I can actually put that on there. So it's a few things that I could tinker with to get it looking better, like right now, because I already have it. But again, trying to make sure everything, I'm not going too far out of the loop here with, obviously I still have kids, the missus, all of that and whatnot, other responsibilities, job, blah, blah, blah. I can slow walk this one and kind of just work it into the days as they come. But all right, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.